Senator, let me
Yes,
ask,
sir.
first of all, where do we stand on the infrastructure negotiations with the bipartisan group of senators?
Well, we're on the 5-yard line, Pat, but sometimes it's hard to get in from the 5-yard line. I was at a long meeting yesterday afternoon on broadband. All the subgroups are working really hard. This is very complicated stuff. And Chuck Schumer, I think, he said he wants the bill on the floor next week. So I just talked to Jeanne Shaheen this morning, and I'm sure there are going to be some more meetings this afternoon. So it's close, but and everybody's working in good faith, both sides of the aisle. Everybody's in the meetings. So I'm feeling mildly optimistic. How's that? I don't want to ever be too optimistic when you're talking about the U.S. Congress.
Now, how much of a complicating factor is it that the president and some other senators have come up with a Democratic plan for what they're calling human infrastructure? I'm not sure what the more comprehensive name is, but is that, because that's more controversial, is that a complication for what you're trying to do?
Well, I was worried that it might be when it was first announced, but I didn't see any evidence of that yesterday when we were in these meetings. I think the Republicans assumed and knew all along that the Democrats were going to do a what's called a reconciliation bill, which only requires a simple majority. It can only involve budget items. It can't involve policy. But I think the Republicans knew that was coming. So far, I haven't seen any any defections. But we've got a ways to go, Pat. We've got to get 60 votes, and there are 10 Republicans engaged in this process. There may well be Democrats who don't like what we're doing. So we're going to. This is from the middle out. So we're going to need 30 or 40 Democratic votes and 25 or 30 Republican votes. So it's not going to be easy.
And because you're working as a group, and it sounds as though you're getting along, and your staffs, I presume, are doing the detail work. Well, tell me about that. How does this work?
Well, generally the staffs meet and work out the things that are easy, that there's general agreement on, representing who they're representing, their senators. And then, for example, we went into this meeting on broadband, and they basically said, okay, there are 5 issues we, the staff, can't resolve. You guys have to work this out. And that was what we spent the rest of the meeting on. So basically, the staff does a lot of the detail work. They'll do the legislative drafting, but the major policy decisions are the term is bumped up to the member level.
And but the tone of the meetings has been productive and engaging, or
very much so, and both parties. But listen, I don't want to mislead. This is a tough and complicated process, and there are some significant policy differences. We're trying to figure out how to work through those. But as I say, I think we're very close. The intent is to have it done this weekend and put it on the floor next week.
If you don't meet that deadline, what are the chances that you skip the August recess and keep working?
Well, Chuck Schumer is already talking about that, and that's a possibility. We've got 2 or 3 weeks. The August recess doesn't start until the I think the 8th of August. So we've got some time, and I think everybody, there's nothing like a trip home to motivate people to get something done.
And the other motivation seems as though everyone wants to bring home the bacon, if you will, and that is an infrastructure package that helps your state.
That's right, of course. And as you know, the piece of it that I'm most interested in is broadband, because I think that's the critical infrastructure of the 21st century. In a state like Maine, it's just essential. And the good news is that the proposal we're talking about focuses on underserved and unserved areas, and there are a lot of those in Maine. So we should do well. This is the key piece of infrastructure for seniors and telehealth, for kids connecting to school, for work from home. So it's a big deal, and we're really pushing hard to get that piece done.